Well, it doesn't matter that my next guest was one of the guys doing the questioning. Senator Orrin Hatch says this whole hearing was a dog and pony show. And in fact, he illustrated the point brilliantly by quite literally bringing a picture of a dog and pony show. He's the ranking member on the Finance Committee. You know, Senator, that was very witty. I thought that was a standout moment. And it was not well received by some of your colleagues. I think that's the picture that you showed at the hearing behind you, but we'll get to that in a second. Why did you do it?
Well, everybody there knew it was a dog and pony show. It was just done. The Democrats know they're not going to pass that bill, and they're just doing it to try and climb on oil companies, and that they know are not held in high esteem by the country. But what happened is that the oil and gas companies were able to show that if they could just get, permits to drill, if they could just do their job, it not only means all kinds of more revenue to the federal government, it means all kinds of jobs, it means all kinds of opportunity. And you know, the thing that I find fault with is that, you know, this is selective taxation. They were going to tax the oil companies without taxing a lot of other businesses like casinos, just to mention one. And, you know, I don't care who you are, that's just plain not fair. Now, I thought that the company executives took a lot of hard questions today. I think they withstood them. I think they made it clear that they're actually investing more than they're actually earning right now in many areas of our country. They'd do a lot more if they could get the permits from the federal government. It's amazing to me that the president could go down to Brazil and compliment them on their offshore drilling when they won't allow drilling in the Gulf.
That was the point I was going to raise you. Senator, you know, if I understand it correctly, you're closer to this than I'll be, but we're not talking about tax write-offs per se, but the oil industry is equivalent of what others enjoy throughout all of corporate America, depreciation and write-off rules, that if you were to strip away from the oil industry to be fair, you'd have to strip away from everybody. But this is their depreciation allowance, right?
Well, they thought they were going to have a field day, the Democrats did, and they can just attack these big oil companies because they've been doing it for years. The liberal press has been doing it for years. And the fact of the matter is these companies, if you look at it, I've got another chart here that really tells the story. They talk about big oil companies. This is the control of global oil resources throughout the world. These are all the OPEC nations in this green. Here's the other nations, and here's what our so-called big oil companies control. It's 1.4% of oil in the world. And we're not allowed to drill for more in our own country where we have lots of oil if we could just drill for more. And frankly, a lot of people haven't seen that. Now look, I think our companies ought to do a better job. I wish they could do a better job. I'm not there to defend them, but I certainly felt like they were being mistreated, and all for what? A political charade? What we call a dog and pony show that I showed that. Yeah, that was funny to bring that up, and I hadn't seen it myself, and I had to laugh too, but it really covered it the way it really was. And that is a dog and pony show to try and make Democrats look good at the expense of the so-called 5 oil companies on a selective taxation basis that they would mistreat them compared to other relative businesses, and all for political purposes. And I get tired of that, and so that's why I didn't let them get away with it.
Well, I think the last fellow question is the one that's on America's minds. How did you get the dog on top of the pony?
You always ask the most pertinent questions, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to answer that.
And you're well within your rights.
It's a miracle.
It is a miracle. Orrin Hatch, thank you, sir. Very good seeing you.
Always nice to be with you.
I'm telling you, that was the highlight of that whole thing. It was hysterical.